Prologue, Shadows of the Past. Once, Raccoon City was a thriving metropolis, but now it has become an abandoned place, full of ghosts and mysteries. In their childhood, Ethan Redfield and his brother Chris lived in an orphanage run by the mysterious Dr. William Birkin. Their childhood was full of fear and uncertainty, especially when Ethan befriended Lisa Trevor, a girl subjected to horrible experiments. Ethan escaped the orphanage in search of freedom and a normal life, but in 1998, he returns to Raccoon City, hoping to find his brother and uncover the truth about his childhood fears. He doesn't realize that this return will mark the beginning of the end. Chapter 1: The Return. Ethan arrives in Raccoon City in a truck. Along the way, he notices a woman crossing the street. The truck driver doesn't have time to brake and hits her. When they get out to check, the woman is gone, leaving only a pool of blood. It's a harbinger of what awaits the city. Ethan heads to his brother's house. Chris, already working with the police, doesn't believe his stories about Umbrella. He thinks it's just paranoia. Meanwhile, strange things start happening in the city. People become aggressive and lose their sanity. Ethan decides to stay in the city for a few days to find Chris. He rents a room in a cheap hotel and begins exploring the surroundings. The next morning, he heads to a local cafe where he overhears conversations about strange disappearances and attacks on people. Chapter 2: The First Wave. That same day, Leon Kennedy, a rookie cop, starts his first shift. He meets Jill Valentine and Albert Wesker in the local cafe, discussing the strange events happening in the city. They have no idea about the looming catastrophe. When zombies begin attacking people, Leon and Jill realize the situation is spiraling out of control. They gather their strength and decide to find out what's going on. Meanwhile, Ethan encounters his first zombie, a man who once worked at a local store. He barely escapes and realizes the city is descending into chaos. He decides to seek help from the police. Chapter 3: Operation Spencer. Meanwhile, the STARS team is sent to investigate the Spencer mansion. Wesker hides his true intentions. He is working for another organization and intends to steal samples of the G-virus from Birkin. Inside the mansion, the team faces horrors, zombies, traps, and secret laboratories. Chris chooses to stay with the team. Despite Ethan's warnings that Umbrella is involved in this nightmare, he begins to realize the truth about his connections to the monster and fights for his life and that of his brother. The team encounters various traps and puzzles, putting their survival skills to the test. They discover records of Umbrella experiments on humans and animals that were turned into monsters. Chapter 4: The Fall of Raccoon City. The situation worsens. Zombies fill the city streets. Ethan teams up with Leon and Jill to fight the threat. They find Ben Bertolucci, a journalist who knows more about Umbrella. Ben tells them about the company's secret experiments and how they poisoned the city's water supply. Meanwhile, Birkin loses control of his creation, the G-virus. His daughter, Sherry, becomes a victim of his experiments. Ethan decides to rescue Sherry and get her out of the city. The team faces a variety of mutants, from zombies to more complex creatures. They have to use all their survival skills and weapons to fight them. Chapter 5: The Final Battle. The heroes band together for the final battle against the zombies and mutants. They infiltrate the Umbrella lab to stop Birkin and his monstrous creation, the G-mutant. In the final confrontation, Chris faces Birkin. He learns the full truth about his ties to this monster and fights for his life and that of his brother. Ethan helps Leon defeat the G-mutant. They use teamwork to bring it down once and for all. After the devastating battle, the surviving group leaves Raccoon City before the nuclear strike that is set to wipe the city off the map. They understand that while they survived, the cost was high. Ethan looks at his brother with hope for the future. They know that the fight is just beginning. Umbrella is still out there somewhere. This story is not just about a zombie apocalypse. It's about family, betrayal, and the search for truth amid chaos. Each character has their own fears and motivations, making them unique in this dark world. Chapter 6: The Path to Salvation. After the nuclear strike on Raccoon City, the world was changed forever. The survivors were scattered, each forced to find their own way to salvation among the ruins of the old world. Ethan Redfield did not give up hope of finding other survivors from his team. He knew about the dangers beyond the city. Mutated creatures roamed the wastelands, but he was determined to reach a safe place. Leon Kennedy also embarked on a new path after the tragedy of Raccoon City. He joined a small group of survivors, veterans of the war against the zombie apocalypse, who were seeking ways to stop Umbrella once and for all. Chapter 7: A New Threat. Despite the destruction of Umbrella, their technologies continued to exist. thanks to dark forces within the corporation. One day, Ethan receives a message from an old friend, Ben Bertolucci. He has found information about a new threat. The T-virus has been re-engineered to create a new generation of biological weapons. Ethan understands the importance of this information. He gathers a team of remaining survivors, Leon, Jill Valentine, and Chris Redfield, to stop the new threat before it becomes a reality. Chapter 8: The Search for Truth. The team heads to an abandoned umbrella complex located near Old Raccoon City. They hope to find evidence that the corporation continues its experiments outside the city. Along the way, they encounter various mutants, new forms of zombies, and creatures born from the T-virus. Each battle becomes more challenging, and the team must use all their skills to survive. Inside the complex, they find laboratories filled with eerie experiments on humans. Numerous records indicate that Umbrella continues to create new viruses to control humanity. Chapter 9: The Unveiling. During their investigation, the team uncovers information about a high-profile project codenamed New Order. This project involves the creation of a new type of soldier, enhanced humans using viruses to increase strength and speed. Ethan grasps the seriousness of the situation. If the project is completed, humanity will be under the total control of the corporation. They find records of experiments on humans. Many of them were victims of previous Umbrella experiments. The team decides to stop the project at any cost. Chapter 10: Conflict of Interests. Meanwhile, Albert Wesker begins executing his own plan. He aims to use the new technology to achieve his goal, creating a new race of humans without the weaknesses of humanity. Wesker sets a trap for the team. He wants to capture them as samples for his experiments. This results in a brutal confrontation between the survivors and Wesker, along with his new creations. Chris faces Wesker in a tense ideological duel, one wanting to save humanity from the threat of Umbrella, the other seeking power at any cost. Chapter 11: The Final Showdown. The team unites against Wesker. They realize the importance of working together to succeed. In the final battle, they use all their skills and weapons to defeat him. Wesker proves to be a formidable opponent due to his enhancements, but the team doesn't give up. They use cunning and teamwork to defeat him once and for all. After a long fight, they finally overcome Wesker, who disappears into the shadows of his own creation, a new biological weapon that destroys the lab around them. Epilogue: A New World. After their victory, the team understands the importance of unity in facing future threats. They decide to create an organization to protect the remaining survivors from the threat of biological weapons from corporations like Umbrella. Ethan looks at his friends, knowing that there will be many challenges ahead, but together, they will be able to face all the horrors to come.